We just got word this week that Indiana Jones will be dusting off his hat and whip for yet another video game appearance, this time helmed by the newly formed Lucasfilm Games and Machine Games, the studio behind the recent Wolfensteins. There's still a lot we don't know about this new Indiana Jones game, but we did get a teaser trailer which has some clues in it according to the official announcement, so we put our archaeology degrees to good use and went over the trailer with a fine-tooth comb. Here are all the details that we spotted in the new Indiana Jones teaser. One big clue is Indy's passport and his travel ticket. The ticket shows he's embarking on an overnight service to Rome on October 21st, 1937, and the passport's entry field suggests that he's heading there under the guise of a research/education trip, presumably connected to his day job, teaching archaeology at Marshall College. You can also spot a coffee mug with the MC symbol on his desk. However, considering that this is Indiana Jones and that he's packing his whip and pistol, I think it's safe to assume that this trip will not be strictly academic. Another major detail from the trailer is a gigantic map of Vatican City, the independent city-state of the Holy See. Indy appears to be studying this area thoroughly, marking areas of interest like the Belvedere Courtyard, which also happens to be the site of the Vatican Apostolic Library. There's no shortage of ancient texts or holy artifacts at the Vatican, so Indy will surely find something to do there, whether it's academic or otherwise. Indy has also put a question mark on the Apostolic Palace, the official residence of then Pope Pius XI, and the location of the famous window where the Pope delivers blessings. Not quite sure what his intentions are there, Indy, not the Pope, but an audience with the head of the Catholic Church may be out of the question. We can also see some arrows pointing west from St. Peter's Square, which suggests that this may be Indy's intended entry point. Not exactly subtle. Now, blink and you'll miss it, but some of the writing on the Machine Games branded typewriter is legible. It looks like Indy has a contact within the Vatican, and here's what we've got so far. Father X, let me start. Thank you for taking your time to help me with this written request. I will be arriving in Rome. I have been informed that your contact will be waiting. So unfortunately, we would need a higher quality trailer than the compressed Twitter video that we're working with. We tried to snag the whole thing. We reached out to Bethesda, but apparently they can't share it due to an agreement with Lucasfilm. Presumably we'll get a higher res version eventually, but until then, if you have any ideas of what this letter says, feel free to share them in the comments below.
Can you translate the inscription?
Now, to quote the inimitable Indiana Jones,
Nazis. I hate these guys.
A 1930s setting for the game puts us in the thick of the Third Reich and Adolf Hitler's dictatorship. Meanwhile, Benito Mussolini is also in Rome at this point, overseeing fascist Italy just prior to the World War II Axis powers formally consolidating under the Pact of Steel in 1939. Now, due to the focus on Vatican City, the game could also touch on the Nazi persecution of the Catholic Church during this period. And also, given Indy's proclivity for anti-fascism, it would make sense that we'd be fighting Nazis and fascists while decoding myths and retrieving artifacts, and given Machine Games' track record with Wolfenstein, they know a thing or two about games where you kick some Nazi ass.
Does this end kill Nazis?
Enthusiastically so.
Now, in regards to the movies, this time frame means that we are between Raiders of the Lost Ark, which is set in 1936, and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, which is in 1938. Jones has retrieved the Golden Idol from Peru and has been to Egypt to thwart the Nazis. As a result, the Ark of the Covenant is now in storage, and the US government is aware of Jones's activities, having just paid him for retrieving it. In the trailer, we can spot a dossier with redacted strings on his desk, so this operation may also be in collaboration with the government. Now, stepping away from Italy for a moment, there are a number of references to other locations that Indy could be headed to in this new adventure. The first thing we see in the trailer is a stack of books. Unfortunately, none of the author names lead to anything via Google, with the exception of executive producer Todd Howard of Bethesda Games, obviously. But the subject matter is still interesting. The Myths That Made Us book at the front there has a tagline on the spine which says Volume 1, Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia, of course, was a large region in Western Asia encompassing Babylon, Palmyra, as well as parts of modern Syria, Turkey, and Iraq. One of the most famous Mesopotamian myths is the Epic of Gilgamesh, which happens to be one of the oldest surviving examples of ancient literature. Indy could very well be hunting for artifacts or tablets relating to this myth, or perhaps the mystery has something to do with the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, one of the ancient wonders of the world. The books note that Indy is also studying ancient circles and forbidden stones. The tagline on the Forbidden Stones book reads, A Treatise on Corrupted Jewels and the Essence of Ancient Curses, which provides some further detail on what Indy might be looking for in Mesopotamia. Then in the bottom left corner, we can see a tiny note written by Indy, which says Pyramids Giza Necropolis, probably referring to the Giza complex of pyramids in Cairo, the last remaining ancient wonder of the world. The yellow pages north of this note offer a sketch of the Peruvian Forbidden Idol retrieved in Raiders, as well as a drawing of a ziggurat, a common structure found in ancient Mesopotamia. Indy has written Ziggurat Clue nearby, so he's definitely studying it. Whether he'll visit any of these places in the game is still up in the air, but it's good food for thought regardless. Now, beyond all of the Easter eggs we found in the trailer, those excited for the game may be wondering about what platforms it's going to land on in the future. Given that Microsoft has recently acquired Bethesda, and by proxy Machine Games, we can assume that it will definitely land on PC and Xbox consoles. Whether it will be exclusive to those platforms is another question entirely. The teaser suggests the game is early in development. Machine Games tweeted shortly after the announcement, noting the studio is hiring, so the team is growing and gearing up to deliver on this ambitious project, which is, quote, a completely original story within the Indiana Jones IP. Now, the other thing that we have to go off of is the upcoming Indiana Jones 5 movie, which is set for a July 2022 release. Now, given this timeline, it's possible the game aligns with the movie in some way, though it's also possible it's completely unrelated. Did you spot anything in this teaser that we missed? Let us know in the comments, and for everything video games and movies, Indiana Jones or otherwise, you're already in the right place, IGN.